he decided to play. Blindfold them. He will tell them, run straight and you're going to be free. And he will fall and he would shoot him. That the world was expecting Syrians to basically be killing each other for the first 2 or 3 months of the liberation.
Yeah. On The Thinking Muslim this week, we have a first of our interviews from Syria with Ghassan Hitto, president of the Syrian Forum. The World Bank puts the reconstruction cost of Syria to around 216 billion. Israel, for example, has occupied parts of the country, as we know. I can't mention, how many people said to me, be careful, this is Syria.
Mr. Al-Sharaa, as being a president who is a Muslim, order was established within the first 12 hours. Do I trust this government? They have seen death so many times, not just one time, so many times.
We went to Sadnaya prison.
We have over 120,000 people who are missing. This is now back in our hands. We regained our homes. Now we need to start rebuilding. And who is best to catch Syria up except...
So we're here in the old city of Damascus with Ghassan Hitto, who's the president and co-founder of the Syrian Forum. Ghassan Hitto, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome to The Thinking Muslim.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Brother Jalal, for inviting me, and thank you for visiting Syria.
I've had an amazing few days already here in Damascus, and we're going to get into that actually. How can foreigners or those who are outside of the country help rebuild Syria? Now, today I want to talk about Syria's economy in particular, its welfare and its reconstruction. But actually off camera, we had a quick conversation, and it seems where we are at the moment in this Nuri Bimaristan is actually not unfamiliar to you. You grew up around this area. Just describe your relationship with the building we're in now and with the area we're in.
Well, you are in the middle of history, and poets who have wrote poems on Damascus. At times, they have described this to be the center of the universe. Damascus has a romance with many people, Syrians and non-Syrians, for many things. Just because it is known to be the oldest inhabited city in the world. We are in the city center. We are in a historical district. This place, and I'm really grateful that you have selected this place. This shows the significance of the Muslim contribution to the civilizations that we live in. This used to be a hospital that was built probably about 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is amazing. This is now a museum that shows, the contribution of Muslims to medicine. I grew up in this area. Actually, my father's shop is right outside this place, maybe 30 steps from here.
Really?
My father established the 6th sock factory in Damascus. Is known for its textile business, and my father was in a textile business. So I grew up here in this area. I'm a Damascene, and this particular area, there is a ton of history. If you go to the Umayyad Mosque neighborhood, which is maybe half a kilometer from here, Brother Jalal, this is my message to our brothers and sisters, who would listen to this podcast. Syria is in the heart of Bilad al-Sham. We have to realize that, and its significance is important. So knowing Bilad al-Sham, knowing Syria, it's part of us. If you want to see Masjid Khalid bin al-Walid, it is in Syria. If you want to see the tomb of Abdullah bin Umar bin al-Khattab, it is in Syria. If you want to see the tomb of Ibn Taymiyyah, it is in Syria. So it has a significance for this ummah, this place. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're visiting. There's a lot of opportunities to see things that are one of a kind that you will only see in Syria. And each of these 14 major cities around the country, each one of them have its own significance, its own historical significance. So I'm glad you're here.
No, Jazakallah khair, and we're really thrilled to be here. It's been an amazing journey so far, and we've visited so many places of historical importance. I mean, there's the graveyard here of the Sahaba. This is something which, we could never imagine that we would be able to visit. such important sites for the Muslim
Bilal bin
Ummah.
Rabah is in Bab
Bilal
al-Ghir,
bin
which is
Rabah.
only maybe a couple of kilometers from here, from
Yeah.
where we're sitting.
Absolutely. Now, today we're here to discuss Syria's future, its economy, its welfare, its reconstruction. You've described your journey from the airport, which I've made as well, from the airport to your residence, and you see children selling napkins. It's a country with, I think, 90% of Syrians are living under the poverty line. Like, when you look at Syria today, where do we start?
I think to be fair for this, what I believe is a great country, it's a very significant country in the Muslim world. We have to describe the current situations. Like you said, there are 90% of the Syrian people living below the poverty line. Let's break down into other statistics. I will not overburden the viewers with this.
Yeah.
About over 9,000 schools that have been destroyed by the Assad regime over the last 14 years.
Yeah.
Half of them have been destroyed partially, half of them completely. The result of that is 2.4 million school-aged children. They don't go to school. There are about 2 to 3 million housing units that have been destroyed. So the country is right now is not feeling well. It's ill. Inshallah, it will recover, but it needs a lot of work and it needs a lot of effort, not only from Syrians, obviously, but also from our brothers and sisters to really contribute to bring this country to play its role that is intended to play in the region. Syria is important for the stability of the region.
The World Bank puts the reconstruction cost of Syria to around $216 billion, and that's roughly 10 times Syria's GDP or current GDP. A number like that is very substantial. I mean, how does Syria raise enough funds to reconstruct?
Actually, this is the lowest number, believe it or not.
Really?
This is the lowest numbers when it comes to estimates of rebuilding Syria. There are numbers that go as high as 600 billion, but regardless of the number, Syria's crisis have been described by the international community as the worst humanitarian crisis in the world in recent history.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's going to take time. Raising that much money, it's going to take time, and it's going to come from various places. I think the international community will play a role in that. Syrians themselves in the diaspora will play a role in that. But at the end of the day, a problem like this, it needs to be dissected into smaller problems.
Yeah.
Probably it'll take a decade or two, in my opinion, for Syria to come back healthy.
I mean, and is that really the expectation at this stage? Really, that Syria as a state, in order for it to recover, it just needs to be given space and time and support over the next few decades to get. Because I've been to, we went yesterday on a tour of some of the sites of Ghouta and in other places around Damascus, which have been completely leveled by the Bashar regime. Yarmouk, the camp of Yarmouk, I mean, subhanallah, it was like actually, seeing Gaza close up.
Absolutely.
I just don't think people outside the country realize the devastation that was wrought upon this country by this regime. Just describe like where we are and how your forum, Syria Forum, which I think you work on relief, on education. How are you helping Syrians come out of this situation?
Like you said, in Damascus alone, I'm going to paint in a couple of scenes. Damascus is one of the cities that is partially destroyed, meaning we have 5 neighborhoods that you've mentioned, a couple of them right now, they're completely leveled. Jobar, Qaboon, Hajar al-Aswad, Tadamun, and Yarmouk.
Yeah.
These are 5 major neighborhoods that, as you have described, they are completely leveled. So now you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people in this city have been displaced.
Yeah.
I'm going to paint a different scene for you. So Homs, you will see neighborhoods are destroyed. Hama, the same way. Idlib, Halab, the same way. But if you go to Deir ez-Zor in northeast, you will see a city that is completely destroyed. Completely meaning, to be accurate, the city has 30 neighborhoods, 28 of them. You will see similar scenes as what you have seen in Jobar and Al Yarmouk. So the amount, when we say 2 to 3 million household units completely destroyed, trust me, I'm afraid that the number is higher than that. It's not an exaggeration at all. 15 million people, the United Nations have said, 15 million of the Syrian people, they are basically classified as people in need. So the situation in Syria, it's very, very devastating. We continue to have about 1.4 million people living in camps inside Syria, let alone those who have become refugees in other countries. So yeah, I mean, I think while the problem is devastating, is grim when you look at it, from that perspective. But I think there is a lot of hope. Syrians, I think you've already sensed some of that on the streets. There is a lot of hope in the street. People are breathing a sigh of relief, post Bashar al-Assad era. Now there is a sense of regaining agency.
Right.
It's developing.
Yeah.
The amount of fear that Assad has bestowed on the people was so tremendous. Right now, all of the sudden, people saying, "Wow, did we just wake up from a dream, or are we in a dream?" They are basically in the process of regaining agency, ownership of this country. And I think when that paradigm shift is completed, you're going to see a much higher positive energy by the Syrian people. They're just realizing right now, wow, this is now back in our hands. We regained our homes. Now we need to start rebuilding.
Brother Ghassan, you talked about the need to move forward and the optimism that's in the air. And I sense a palpable sense of freedom. When you speak to people, they speak openly here. And I understand under the Bashar regime, that was impossible to do. You just couldn't speak, even in front of your children sometimes.
We could not have this interview under the Bashar regime.
For sure. I mean, it was a police state and a very difficult terrain for you to navigate. Even within family members, I understand people just wouldn't speak to one another. And there is a fear that, like all revolutions, governance can end up emulating and echoing previous generations. I mean, what guarantees do we have that the new government, the new administration, is going to move beyond this sort of autocratic, centralized government and continue this sort of freedom that the Syrian people enjoy at the moment?
Let me say a few things in this regard.
Yeah.
Where Syria is today, the world should look at it as a great success story that we need to make sure it is completed.
Right.
We have a huge opportunity to create a great success stories, a Cinderella story. We've started that story, and now we just need to finish it.
Yeah.
Do I trust this government that it's going to do the right thing? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because they had opportunities to do otherwise in the last year and a half, and they didn't. They've consolidated a lot of the military groups. They've tried to include as many people as although they've been accused on they're kind of not including enough. But look, they just toppled Assad. My goodness, this is almost miraculous. This was even in our dreams of dreams that this will happen. So for the new administration to really include as many people as they can, it's going to take a process. That happens with any, even Ibn Khaldun talked about the usba, right? I mean, this is very typical, right? And I think I see it going in the right direction. Some people might find that to be the pace is slow, but I think it's normal. But the pushback, this is where sunnat at-tadafu', right? وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a tool, pushing back, right? So people should get involved. Getting involved is not easy because people are not trained in their own being to be involved, to be engaged. Simple civic engagement was not allowed. Now they need to take matters more into their hand for simple social society type of initiatives, cleaning streets, rebuilding some schools and what have you. So you'll see a lot. You will see signs of that. In my opinion, not enough. People should get engaged more. Should be more aggressive in taking matters into their hand in a correct and positive way. I don't think they need a lot of permission to engage, and rather I think the mindset of the government welcomes that. But if they don't, if the society doesn't get engaged, the society will create their own dictatorships. We should not fool ourselves. If we are not involved, of course, that's the government is going to be more authoritarian, is going to be more autocratic, is going to make its own decisions. It'll have less consultation with people. When people show interest, the government will consult. The government will talk to them, and I think people of Syria should quickly complete that shift that they are going through right now, and get engaged, ask questions, be critical, but be positive. This is important. Others also should be positive. Sometimes you hear of if you want me to allow, they see Mr. Ahmed Al-Sharaa as being a president who is a Muslim. He appears Muslims. He has a beard, and what we know of him is a good Muslim. And all of a sudden, they're asking for an Islamic state. Allahu Akbar! Where did you come up with this idea? How is he gonna create this overnight for you, just to satisfy your desire, your hawa? And unless he does an Islamic state, he's a bad person. No. It's going to take him time. It's called tarbiyah, right? Isn't that what we talk about? So the Assad allowed many things that we would consider haram. Look at Turkey, right? How long President Erdogan, took to create some of the transformation. Syria is no different, and that it's going to take time to also fix the damage that happened to the people.
On the economy, Syria was under very punitive sanctions by the international community, the EU and the US. Those sanctions are now been lifted. You said it's a first step, not a magic wand. Banking-wise, I mean, Syria still uses hard currency, dollars mostly, to engage with the norm of just the most basic of activities. The banking system yet hasn't, although I hear some snippets of hope, but the banking system yet hasn't come back. How is this affecting the ordinary lives of Syrians, and how does that affect just the ability to reconstruct this country?
The banking system is a major issue in Syria, and it needs to be resolved. Has the sanctions been completely lifted in a true practical sense? No.
Really?
It's in the process of being lifted. There is a lot of technical issues associated with that. But let me take an inward focus on that. Also, the Syrian banks, they need, I think, to although I'm not a specialist or an expert in this area, But banks should also build their own capacity to connect with the international community, whether that processes, the KYCs, and anything that banks do. This is going to be important for us as a Syrian Forum. We manage our grants and money we have money deposited in Syrian banks, and we deposit and we withdraw and what have you. There are ways to get money legally into the country, not necessarily through the SWIFT system, but through what they call a hawala system, and or through Turkey. There are some ways to get money into the system. This is what we do at the Syrian Forum to support our programs, being in education, being in economic empowerment, and a humanitarian work, and what have you.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Zahra here in Isakia, Wajir County, Kenya. You see me looking off to the screen, it's because there's goats coming. They're running so fast. You're gonna see them right now. And they are headed to get water from one of Beit al-Mal's troughs at their borehole here. Look at that, they're so excited. They have walked countless kilometers on foot to get fresh, clean water. The structure that you see behind me is one of Beit al-Mal's boreholes here in Kenya. A borehole, it's better and more sustainable than a well. In a place like this, the nearest water source is more than 23 kilometers away. Beit al-Mal said we have to do something different. They dug really deep, they encased what they dug, and now they're able to pump up to 14,000 liters of water per hour. This water is going to make a difference for them, not just today, but for weeks, months, and years to come. If you want to help make water accessible to the people, our brothers and sisters in Kenya, support Beit al-Mal's water access projects so that you can make a long-term contribution and continue to reap the good deeds of all of the joy and life this water is bringing to the communities here.
Please visit btml.us/thinkinmuslim to donate now. There are reports that some 28 billion has been earmarked for foreign investment into this country from the Gulf states, from Turkey. I suppose the fear is that some of this money is there to create an extractive economy, to extract rather than to rebuild. I mean, how does Syria guarantee that the money that's coming into its country, foreign investment, is going to be used to rebuild Syria in the long term in a sustained way?
There are investments coming into the country, not very large, not very many. When I met the president a few months ago, he mentioned about $58 billion that have been made in terms of commitments.
Sorry.
Has the money come in? Did the project start and what have you?
Yeah.
We see some projects that have started. But your question is more specific, what should Syria and Syrians do? I think we should focus in Syria on with the assumption that Syria is a great investment opportunity, and Syria it is a great investment opportunity in all sectors, from tourism to manufacturing to agriculture, you name it. Huge. It's a green field, and I encourage a lot of investors to consider Syria now and be the first movers into the country. The issue, the challenge that we face right now in Syria is creating an attractive investment environment, and that's a suite of things that needs to happen, from laws, regulations, qualified human resources, and what have you. So the investment opportunities is a major concern for the government.
Yeah.
Actually, we just finished a 3-day conference on that. Syrian Forum and our research center was the entity that provided all of the intellectual the expertise behind the scene.
Yeah.
The focus is creating that investment opportunity. What are the components that we can all work on to create that investment opportunity? So you see people talking about SWIFT only. SWIFT brings money in,
Yeah.
right? are there is the investment law regulations protect the investors to what extent, labor laws, taxes, trained human resources, these things, how do you tax, import? Do you really, the Syria wants to focus on a trade balance, right? Trade balance meaning you got to push more manufacturing. We don't have a lot of oil and gas to export, so you need to have products that you need to manufacture and compete with regionally and export it. So these topics are live in the minds of the government, in the minds of the private sector, and they should be worked on, and then being worked on seriously. So I think very soon we have a good draft of the investment law. I think they're very close to finish the draft of the law for the taxes in general, and people like us, and we focus on building the capacity of the human resources to prepare them to enter the market.
I mean, can you explain to me what are the investment opportunities within Syria, and what export opportunities exist? Because I understand, I mean, the Assad regime was a very closed regime. It was sort of pseudo-socialistic in a way, and a lot of its exports were really like textiles and oil products probably, and a few things here and there. Like, what opportunities currently exist for inward investment, but also for export opportunities?
I mean, the most obvious one, let me talk of two things, The quick money, I think, is going to be on import and maybe on the construction sector. But what Syria needs is really a production economy.
Yes.
So what Syria needs is to go back to its golden age of truly being a country that has a balanced economy between agriculture and also being industrious, and also it has trades. That there is a great imbalance right now. So agriculture sector is an important one, because it's traditional. There is a lot of know-how in the country, and there are products that are needed, crops that are needed outside the country. Fruits and vegetables needed by our regional countries. Textile, I think, is a major industry that should be supported and revived, and the list goes on. Someone could analyze the labor force, the cost of the labor force, and decide to bring certain manufacturing into Syria, which I think Syria provides that opportunity because of the ports that we have in the Mediterranean Sea and access to Jordan and Turkey and Iraq and other places. This is the location of Syria makes it very, very attractive, regardless of its own natural resources, makes it very attractive for investment to come in. Like I said, it's a green field, and I think people can invest and bring in restaurant chains. I don't want to violate my principle. I like to promote production economy. But at the end of the day, any investment for us as Syrian, any investment that really results in employing Syrians, that is a step in the right direction. That is a good investment. Do Syrians deserve to see high quality products delivered to them at a very decent price? Yes. I think they need to be afforded that opportunity. But for that to happen, again, I don't like to see a lot of imports coming into the country. I like to see a balance between import and product to be manufactured locally. And historically, Syria produced good, excellent product for the region.
Right.
In a lot of the sectors.
On that, Syria, of course, has immense human potential, and a lot of that potential left the country. I mean, maybe 3 million plus refugees in the region and beyond. There's many refugees, Syrian refugees, where I live in the UK. What does Syria need to do to bring back this knowledge, expertise that exists across the world? Because, of course, that alone could potentially kickstart a lot of these economies, this production economy that you talk of.
Yeah, I think you've put your finger on the pulse here. This is a major issue that Syrians should pay attention to, because we have a wealth of knowledge and expertise of Syrian expats. Whether they're outside prior to 2011, or they have become refugees post 2011. Actually, the number of refugees is about 7 million, 3.5 only in Turkey, and then the others is between Europe, Lebanon, Jordan, and Egypt, and maybe other places as well. The issue that you're raising is very important. Is how do I speed up the process of creating this attractive investment?
Yeah.
That means I need to bring in this knowledge, vast knowledge that I require. Syria fell behind in many ways. Now I need to get Syria caught up. And who is best to catch Syria up except those Syrians who have left the country? They got their education outside, they've gained a lot of experiences, and now they're able to come back. Now, how do we bring them back? A person who lived in the UK has become a UK citizen. A person who lived 20 years in the US or so has become a US citizen, and what have you.
Yeah.
So personally, I say the following. We have the responsibility, and this is what we do at the Syrian Forum. We have the responsibility to create opportunities for those experts to come in and share their knowledge with Syrians. We do that through our Dullani program. We bring them as volunteer trainers. They train on a specific skill for about 3.5 months. The person who leaves that training, actually, we place him in a job.
Wow.
We don't train for the sake of training. So they come in and train on a very specific skill that Syria needs. So these type of programs, we need many of them so we can take advantage. And the reason I'm saying this, because I don't want to make it difficult on expat and put a pressure on them and say, look, if you don't come to Syria, then you're a bad person. No. Stay where you are if you desire to do so. But keep Syria in mind and think about what is your tolerance level of supporting. Can you spare 200 hours a year? We need to figure out how we can use these 200 hours.
Yes.
We can do a lot of damage with 200 hours with someone who has certain expertise, right? Some people may, who are closer to retirement, they can maybe take a few months at a time, and dedicate that to Syria if they have not decided to move. So we have to get more creative and engaging. And there are examples of that happening. Are those examples enough? No. And the opportunity, and this is where I tell people, the treasure that we have with the Syrian expat, not only with expertise, but also Syrian expats are financially capable individuals, and they will make a difference. I don't know if they can build the country on their own, but they will make a huge difference in really setting the stage for future of Syria.
And does that extend to non-Syrians as well? Of course, the Syrian revolution attracted a lot of non-Syrian Muslims who felt duty-bound to help their Syrian brothers and sisters. And there's a lot of goodwill out there amongst the Muslim Ummah, especially in the West, experts, people who are in professions that maybe Syrians require. Maybe they can join these programs that you talk of. Like, how can non-Syrians help the country?
In many ways, actually. Basically, they need to take time to recognize that Syria exists and the importance of Syria and the position of Syria in terms of history and now in the Muslim Ummah. And there is a lot of ahadith talks about the importance of Bilad al-Sham and what have you. I'm not going to get into that. So they should keep that in mind. People ask me, why did I leave the U.S. After 42 years? One of my reasons in my mind to make sure that my intention is correct. This is Bilad al-Sham, and Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam spoke explicitly not in a hindering way, not implicitly, explicitly of Bilad al-Sham. So this is important. So being here is has a dimension that's bigger than me. That's being a Damascene. I'm just blessed that I've been born and raised in here. But I think working in here, working with the people of Syria is extremely important. And also, I think it's a great opportunity for many things. People who are interested in da'wah, there's opportunity here. Exchange knowledge, back and forth. There's a lot of mashayikh, shuyukh in Damascus that we could benefit.
We met a student just now who's come back, who's come to Syria. And Syria used to have a thriving education program, lots of mashayikh here, right? Talk to that, like how do we bring back that young student seeking knowledge in a country like Syria?
And for me, as a Syrian Forum, we organize these things in a smaller way, but we can expand it. It all depends on the group of students and the age of students. So if students, they want to come and do volunteer opportunities as a first time exposure, of course we can facilitate that. If students wants to come in for intellectual enrichment, we can do that through our research and studies centers and create some sort of engagement with university students. We've done that before. I tell people who live in the West, you cannot believe your impact, and this is my message to them, especially the young ones.
Yeah.
You cannot believe the impact that you make on people when you just show up and talk to them. It just says you care. Remember, these people have gone through a lot. They have seen death so many times, not just one time, so many times. And then clinging on that hope. And that clinging by you showing up. And you say, look, I'm from Pakistan originally. I'm from the UK. I'm an American Muslim. I'm an Egyptian, but I've lived in the US a long time. But I'm amazed about the resiliency of Syrian people. I just want to talk to you. That clinging becomes a grab. It gives hope by showing interest. Now you take that. So I thought a lot of people ask me these questions a lot. Well, if I come, what do you do? Just come.
Yeah.
Show interest. And then after that, you can see opportunities. You're fluent in English language. We need to teach young ones to become fluent in English, because that's a tool for knowledge transfer, right?
Yeah.
You have a certain skill set. We can definitely in a couple of weeks you can do a lot of damage. We can facilitate that for you if you're able to structure that delivery. But the very first thing is show interest. Come in. It's fun city. You will enjoy, I guarantee you will enjoy visiting Syria. But in that visit, inshallah ta'ala, you will see a lot of opportunities how you can make a difference, a real difference in the life of people.
And does Syria have the capacity at this stage to incorporate large numbers of tourists? I mean, is there a tourist industry here that's developing, over this last year and a half?
There is. I think the Ministry of Tourism have done a decent job. When I say decent, that doesn't mean I'm because they have many challenges. But if you look right now, we're conducting an interview in a place where prior to liberation was closed.
Right.
People were not allowed to get into this spot where we are sitting. That's tourism.
Yeah.
And if you look, if we get a chance, you and I, to visit the Umayyad Mosque and visit other places, you will see the amount of interest that is given to those who show interest and they want to learn about these sites. I moved to Syria immediately after the liberation in 12/15/2024. When my wife and I walked down the streets and what have you, it was depressing at the time because some of the shops were closed. Some of the shops did not have enough inventory. It took 1 year. When you go to Hamidiyya Mosque, we're very close to it, right behind me. And if you look at the other shops around us, look at the inventory in the stores. That was not the scene a year ago.
Right.
So Yeah, so there is interest. A lot of the facilities is there. More companies are being licensed. It's easier today to find a car with a driver that is licensed by the Ministry of Tourism than before. The permission that maybe you had to work through is significantly easier than what it was a year ago. So the ministry is doing a lot of things to facilitate that process and encourage people to come. Relatively speaking, they've done an amazing job considering where we were post-liberation. Yeah. But, just like with anything else, there's a lot of room to grow. People who are interested in hotel business, developing tourist areas, we have, I think, about 165 kilometers on the Mediterranean, amazing spots. If you get a chance to see that, you will see amazing places, from beaches to mountains next to the beaches. Something that is really amazing. To the scenery is just beautiful.
I suppose a worry that we all have is that a country like this, which has just come out of 15 years of civil war, of war. Under an autocratic dictatorship, and still faces a lot of challenges, and some of those challenges are security challenges. Israel, for example, has occupied parts of the country, as we know, and there is a fear that it's unpredictable. You may come to Damascus, you may come to Syria, but there is an unpredictability about it because of just the region within which Syria sits, as well as its immediate challenges. And how do you allay those fears that people may have? I mean, just before I came, I can't mention, how many people said to me, be careful, this is Syria, you have to be. And I was pleasantly surprised when I came here that it's probably safer than a city I went to, Johannesburg, a few months earlier. Much safer. I feel like I can walk in the street at all hours. Just tell me about the security situation in the country.
I think the security situation is excellent. I want to say good, more, maybe better than that, but it's relatively speaking, I think it's really excellent. And really, here I want to talk specifically about the Ministry of Interior. They have done an amazing job in creating a paradigm shift in such a short period of time.
Really?
From creating fear to providing services.
Right.
And I'm amazed, actually. Our interior minister is a very young fellow. His name is Anas Khattab, but he's just brilliant. How he created this paradigm. Yeah. You and I, if we travel outside of Damascus, you're going to see SUVs on the street just parked.
Right.
And these are highway service patrol. They're there to make sure that if you had a flat tire or something, they can jump in and help you. And we're going to see them frequently, especially as we pass Homs. So these things all together, they provide a lot of security. Traffic police are present on the street. It just takes your visit, Brother Jalal, to come in and you say, well, I didn't see anything you told me about.
Yeah.
I drove from the airport and I drove through cities. And you have to pass through some poor neighborhoods when you drove through the airports. Yeah. But it's relatively, it's safe, maybe not pleasant to look at, but it's safe. It doesn't give you the impression that you have to be fearful of yourself. I think I'm a known personality here, but I drive by myself and I go to the streets with my wife quite a bit. So no, I'm safety is very, very high, comfortable. Just like any other place. Would you go, 2:00 in the morning in Manhattan? I'm not sure if I do. I'm not sure if I do that in Murphy, Texas, where I live in a suburb of Dallas. Yes. I wouldn't go after 2 a.m. in the street. It's like any place else. I think the change happened a lot quicker than I thought. But listen to this. This is important. People should know that the world was expecting Syrians to basically be killing each other for the first 2-3 months of the liberation.
Yeah.
Order was established within the first 12 hours, less than a day. I've heard this from diplomats. I've heard this from experts around the world. They were basically taking a step back and waiting for us to kill each other. It did not happen.
Right.
That says a lot about Syrian people and what they intend to do.
And the situation of minorities, of course, is often talked about. We had skirmishes in Suwaida a few months back. There's conversations about the Kurds in the northeast of the country and whether they can fully be integrated into the Syrian state, and the cohesiveness of the state remains intact. Just tell me about, because Syria is different to many countries in the region. It has a rich tapestry of minority cultures, and it must be said some of these minorities may be manipulated by outside forces, as we've seen in Suwaida previously. Just talk to that. Like, what is the government doing to assuage as many of these minority communities as possible, that there is no harm that's going to come their way?
My point of view, my hat's off to this government. I think the government has shown not only its intent, backed that by action, that it is truly protecting minorities from any type of backlash from the community.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about the cause of the backlash, because that's 60 years worth of oppression and social engineering, trying to create a divide between the city and the countryside, between the ethnic groups, between the sectarian groups, and what have you.
Yeah.
That's the Assad regime. People should realize that. We're fixing all of that. The government has done a decent job. People might say, well, wait a second, well, we did not see that in Suwaida. But I will tell them, look at the learning curve of this government. This government is a truly learning organization.
Right.
It is learning from each experience and keeping damage to the minimum, trying to contain situations, preventing it from spilling over. And so far, their track record is just showing that. They performed the highest in Northeast with the Kurds in the way they have managed the situation with minimal amount of casualties.
Right.
But on the coastal line with the Alawite, I think by the admission of many, the government truly protected the Alawite as a minority from the backlash of the people. There is a lot of negative built-up emotions, if you will, from the Syrian people against the Alawite, and it's wrong to generalize, but Assad regime is from the Alawite sect, and hurt a lot of people, hurt a lot of Syrians, and Syrians kind of cast this on the Alawite sect, which is wrong. But I think the current government played a significant role. They've done an amazing job in protecting the minorities. So that's a perspective not a lot talked about, but this is what we see on the ground, and I believe it's not perfect, but it's a reality. Meaning is hate speech. The government clearly is watching hate speeches and monitoring those who are pro-government, and sometimes if they have moments of hate speeches, they are not going unnoticed. They are being held accountable for things like that. Khutbah of the masjid, they have been removed from the post of a khatib of a masjid. So these are all good signs. The situation is not perfect, but it's being managed, I think, in a reasonable way, considering the circumstances and the resources available.
I mean, how does one manage that? Because there is we know that some minority communities, I mean, most communities, but some minority communities were very much involved in the persecution and the repression of Syrian people. We went to Sadnaya prison, and subhanallah, I mean, it was a chilling, walk through a very chilling place. We went to Tadamun yesterday, where the massacre took place Amjad Yusuf, I think, was he's now been captured, but he was the head of a effectively a kill squad that killed large numbers of Syrians. There is a feeling, I would imagine, after prolonged conflict, for some form of retribution against those communities or those people who were ruthless in the way in which they treated ordinary Syrians. How does one manage that expectation for reconciliation or beyond, or for retribution, as you know, and how that has a tension, I suppose, with creating harmony with minority communities?
It's not easy. It is very difficult.
Yeah.
It requires first and foremost a lot of wisdom. It all depends whether you want to look forward or keep looking backwards.
Yeah.
But there are tools, reconciliations, there is transitional justice tools, there are social peace tools, and what have you. Transitional justice is a technical process. That's a legal process that the government should continue to focus on that. We have a commission for transitional justice that focuses on that. That's basically look after those criminals who have clear evidence against them. They have committed crimes, and they need to be put in front of judges and go through the process to basically have their chance in court and receive the proper punishment. That process is there. But let me share with you just so I don't paint just a very positive picture and then we get skewed.
Yeah.
The amount of negative emotions and the pressures that people are under because of the suffering that they have gone through from the situation that you have described, people are not satisfied with the pace of which the transitional justice is taking place.
Yeah.
Although I've heard of few thousands already have been arrested and they are in jails right now.
Yeah.
But the enormity of the crimes, every day when I follow news, I hear of people talking about, well, this guy, he's done this and this and this, and he's still living outside and he's roaming the streets. So there is a lot of dissatisfaction just because people are not seeing the pace of transitional justice is taking place. That's one thing. That's the technical side. And there is nothing for people like you and I, when we're not in the government, we can do much about that. If we know of past crimes, we need to be brave. This is my message to Syrian people.
Yeah.
If you know of crimes that have been committed against you, against your family, your relatives, in your neighborhoods, you need to document that if you have documentations and report it to the Ministry of Justice. But the other thing that we should work on, I think that's your question, is really conversation.
Yeah.
Conversation is really in the hearts of our being as good Muslims. Dawah is conversation. We need to talk to people.
Right.
We need to talk to people. This is an opportunity for us to show the natural positive sides of Muslims. With these different sects, I think we have a huge da'wah opportunity, in my opinion. And I'm using the term da'wah because here, the audience here is Syrians and non-Syrians.
Yeah.
If I'm speaking to Syrians only, then we're talking about social peace. We need to create social harmony. But I believe that the more we talk to them, we will realize that casting this crime over an entire population is really wrong, is unfair. Not all Alawite committed the crimes that Assad committed.
Yeah.
He committed the crimes in the name of the Alawite, but not the other way around.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful, also how we channel this energy, and as ambassadors of Islam, as ambassadors of ourselves as humans, right? We need to use wisdom and good energy to let that human aspect of us really overcome the other the other aspect that pushes us to maybe be quick to revenge, to be quick to pass judgment and create tension that will not help build Syria.
Yeah.
Social peace is part of rebuilding Syria. Without it, it's not possible.
Yeah. Can I ask you about the case of Amjad Yusuf? Because I know it's transfixed Syrians and non-Syrians. We've been reading about the horrific massacres of this one individual in Tadamun, but of course there was the case of Dr. Abbasi and his 6 children. Just for those who haven't followed the events so closely, what is he accused of doing? And if you know anything about the Dr. Abbasi case, that will be...
Yesterday I was just attending the Tazia for the Abbasi family in the neighborhood of Ruknuddin. But let's go back to Amjad Yusuf. Amjad Yusuf is an officer in the army. He claims that he was receiving orders.
Yeah.
I personally believe, and this is the overwhelming evidence, that he was just an overzealous type of individuals, and many officers of the Assad regime were overzealous. He was basically entertaining himself and entertaining his soldiers and his underlings by killing Syrians. And if I want to paint the scene, it's a building that is not fully completed. It's a skeleton building. He dug a major ditch, and he would ask people. He will blindfold them, people that he had arrested on the street.
These were randomly chosen.
Randomly chosen, and when you see the videos, you will see old people, young people, children, women, and what have you. And look at this. When you look at videos of the crimes that have been committed by Assad, you will immediately understand the anger of the Syrian people. Immediately. So this guy, if you can imagine, so he had arrested these people. Now he decided to play. Blindfold them, and he would put them on the path, and he will tell them basically, you're free, run. So after the first 2-3 steps, the guy fall in the ditch. But he doesn't know that he's going to fall. He thinks that he has an open roads that he can continue to run on while he's blindfolded.
Yeah.
He will tell him, run straight and you're going to be free. And he will fall and he will shoot him. And this happens on tens and tens of people. The irony is it's all documented on videos. And you name it. The entire family, just like the Dr. Abbasi's.
They strangled his children.
Yes.
How do we know? We know that.
Well, this is the story that have been exchanged and reported. I don't have the details of it, but this is also Amjad Yusuf's goal. And this, what I'm afraid of actually, by focusing on Amjad Yusuf, my message is there are hundreds like Amjad Yusuf who had committed many crimes. Now, Syrians would ask you, is Fadi Saqr connected with Amjad Yusuf? Right? Fadi Saqr is not arrested, but Amjad Yusuf is. So who was given the order? Right? And the list goes on and on and on of many examples. Maybe one time we bring in a panel and have these people who have documented this history to show you the example of random arrest, severe torture, and disappearing. We have over 120,000 people who are missing. Before the liberation, the statistics. Before the liberation, we thought we had 150,000 in jails. They liberated only 10,000. So that makes them missing about 250,000. Add to that 1 million people that have been killed. So the amount of crimes that Amjad Yusuf's and the likes have committed are just horrendous. He's just one of them. He's being presented to help, ease this tension in the country, but I think the world and Syrians are going to be sadly surprised when they learn more and more of the crimes committed by Assad. I think we have not discovered all the mass graves yet. There are many still. Evidenced by the fact is we have 500,000 people that they need to be accounted for, 250,000 I mean, because those who have been documented as killed we know, but there is about 250,000 we don't know. So the number is going to be scary as we discover it over the next few years.
So, Brother Ghassan, as we bring today's conversation to an end, I just want to get your feeling about where you see Syria heading over the next 5 or 10 years. Organizations like yours, the Syrian Forum, do a lot of long-term reconstruction work, development work, welfare work. I know that we're going to visit some of the schools that are that have been developed by your organization a bit later on this week. Where do we see Syria heading over these next 5 or 10 years? With all things being equal, that you're very optimistic about the way the government is handling many of the challenges internally and externally that the country faces. How far can we see this rebuilding of Syria over the next decade?
If we look at a near ideal situation where all cylinders are clicking, meaning we as a Syrian Forum focusing on Syrian, we need to continue to do the things that we are doing. We need to continue to rebuild schools that are damaged.
Yeah.
Out of the realization, someone would say this is the job of the government, but the fact of the matter is, if I say that, the government's going to take many, many years to build the 9,000 schools. So I have to do my part. Every student that I bring back into the classrooms is a win for me. This is how I look at it. Every person that I train and I place in a job is a win for me. I cannot wait for the government to do that. Every farmer that I give agriculture inputs to, from seeds to fertilizers to irrigation materials, what have you, is a win for me, because then they can farm their lands and live off of it. So we need to do our parts as NGOs, as society, as civil society, and what have you. The government also needs to continue building its own capacity. They don't have the luxury of waiting for too long. There's the legacy that they have inherited is leave a lot to be desired. It's really, really bad. Employees that are outdated. I'm sorry to say that they lack behind in their skills. We need some bridging mechanisms. Again, this is where organizations like us, with our building capacity programs, we can help train, and we are doing that with some of the ministries. At the end of the day, we have to create that reasonable investment opportunities, because we need help. This is the bottom line. We need the help of our brothers and sisters around the world. We need people to look at Syria from that eye that has mercy and has opportunity at the same time. Mercy because they love this land, that's part of the Ummah, but also opportunity because there's a great opportunity for investment in Syria. And we need people to converge to Syria. We need, as Syrians, also to do our part to help that conversion take place. Is it gonna be quick? No, it's gonna take a while. Naturally, I think it's gonna be at 5 years something is gonna happen. At 10 years something else is gonna happen. In the next 2 to 3 years, we need to focus on improving our regulations, our laws, trying to soften the blow as much as we can, improve our conversation, internal conversation as Syrians, so we are prepared for the next phase where I think the true reconstruction will start.
And so your message to those who are watching this program and who've held back from visiting Syria, come and visit Syria, spend your money in Syria, help Syria with its skill shortages, help the reconstruction of Syria if you're in the position to do so, because Syria is a project for all of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A huge opportunity to help, a huge opportunity to see direct benefit of your contribution and making a difference, a true positive impact of a population that is eager not only to know you, but eager to benefit from your contribution. And this is just an amazing thing to see that whatever you do, you're truly making an impact on the life of people, one person at a time.
Ghassan Hitto, it's really been a fabulous conversation. I really feel the optimism that's in the air in places like this, in conversations that I've had with people like yourself and with ordinary Syrians. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for inviting me to the show, and thank you for visiting Damascus.
Jazakallah khair.
Wa iyyakum.
Assalamu alaikum. Now you've reached the end of this show, and the fact that you've stayed until the very end tells me that you truly believe in our work. Please consider making a one-off donation or becoming a member by visiting thinkingmuslim.com/membership. Now, your contributions give you exclusive behind-the-scenes access and the ability to ask questions to our guests and monthly calls with myself, my team, and our guests like Sami Hamdi. Jazakallah khair and keep us in your du'as.